The cheese-making process starts with milk. In this case, 220 gallons of whole milk and 60 gallons of water. The milk is heated to 86 degrees Fahrenheit. After an hour, the milk has been heated enough and it's time to add the starter culture. This will turn the milk from liquid to solid. The starter culture contains billions of bacteria. Yes. These bacteria eat the sugars in the milk and produce lactic acid. The lactic acid then causes the milk proteins to coagulate or solidify. But before that happens, we need to add some rennet. Rennet is an enzyme that works with the bacteria to solidify the milk. Once the bacteria and rennet have had a chance to work their magic, it's time to cut the curd. Cutting the curd into smaller pieces allows more surface area for the bacteria and rennet to work. It also helps get rid of some of the water in the milk. The pieces are too big to be considered cheese curds. They need to be ground up into smaller pieces. A special kind of grinder is used to make sure the curds are the right size. If they're too big, they won't melt properly. If they're too small, they'll be hard to work with later on. After grinding, the curds are washed with cold water to stop the bacteria from working. Otherwise, the curds will become too firm and the cheese won't melt. Now, the curds are put into molds. The molds give the cheese its shape. Different shapes require different techniques. Some cheeses are round, some are square, and some are even shaped like wheels. Once the curds have been pressed into their molds, they're left to drain. This is important because it removes any extra water and makes the cheese last longer. The cheese is now ready to be packaged and shipped to stores all over the world. But there are many different types of mozzarella, and each one is made a little differently. For example, some mozzarellas have holes in them. This is caused by the type of bacteria used in the starter culture. The most popular type of mozzarella is the one without holes. That's because people like the idea of a solid block of cheese rather than one with holes. But not everyone likes the same thing, so both types are made. The ones with holes are usually sold in specialty stores, while the ones without holes can be found anywhere. Mozzarella is sold fresh, meaning it hasn't been dried out or aged. Because of this, it has a very long shelf life. It can last for months if it's kept refrigerated. Now let's take a look at how the water buffalo mozzarella is made. The process is pretty much the same, but there are a few differences. First, the milk from the water buffalo contains more fat than cow's milk, so less water needs to be added. The starter culture also contains different bacteria that give the mozzarella a unique flavor and texture. Finally, the mozzarella is brined for several days. This gives it a salty taste and helps preserve it longer. Water buffalo mozzarella is usually sold fresh, but it can sometimes be found dried or aged. When making pizza, it's important to use fresh mozzarella. That's because it melts more easily and has a better flavor and texture than aged mozzarella. However, if you're making a recipe that calls for aged mozzarella, you should definitely use it. And now you know how mozzarella is made. Whether it's fresh or aged, mozzarella is a delicious and versatile cheese that can be enjoyed in many different ways. So next time you see a pizza or pasta dish made with mozzarella, you'll know exactly how it got there. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.